And welcome back to a new-ish episode of the Big Bad Beetleborgs. We're back. I'm Cam.
I didn't know we were calling it that.
I'm Nick.
And we've been... I don't know. What do you want from me?
It's been so
how long? I guess I'm Ryan, because
the uninitiated.
A new audience, I imagine.
A new-ish audience.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know who I am TJ Bowser, founder of Project Louder, home of the Big Bad Beetleborgs. He's our dad.
The big pod boss, pod daddy.
He's been referred to in the holy texts, the archives, if you will, of our lives as Papa, Big T, Teabag.
Whoa!
affectionate.
Yeah, not the Halo way.
Teabag's my street name.
But we are here today to watch a special occasion, the first ever fan film centered around Beetleborgs and even like B-Fighter. I don't think there's been any kind of B-Fighter fan project that I'm aware of.
I looked it up today. Nothing.
There has been no
one Japanese listener that's like, you fool! You're all on the streets, man. I've seen that shit.
There's like one stage show that somebody's really into.
Yeah.
But so Kazdan, friend of the show, friend of the pod, friend of myself and TJ, has
many friends.
Yeah. He has been churning out a handful of fan films and fan projects the past few years, getting up his in the ranks of indie acting, directing, writing, all that jazz. And he has put out the first, I think he's calling it an episode 0 or chapter 0 of Beetleborgs Apocallix, which
essentially
is
a pilot.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is his debut into the Beetleborgs fandom and content creation in our part of the Toku and Saban era Toku world. He's done, I think, at least one Power Ranger centered fan film, and then he has, I think is it Agent Dax? That's his like his own thing that he created. Yeah,
and I think his Power Rangers thing is like an Operation Overdrive spinoff.
Yes. Yeah, with the green Operation Overdrive.
Yes.
So he's been adjacent to this kind of chunk of the world that we're all too familiar with and comfortable in, probably for our own good. And but just a few weeks ago, this pilot premiered. I think it's like an 8-9 minute video popped up on YouTube and officially cemented him in the canon as the first ever Beetleborgs fan film. And we are going to sit down and watch and comment and leave our unmitigated opinions.
Which, who better to do this than the self-proclaimed first Beetleborgs podcast?
Yes, the one and only,
the only
Beetleborgs podcast. In a tradition of firsts, as Kaz being the first Beetleborgs fan film, it is only just that we, the first complete Beetleborgs podcast, be the ones to...
A lot of first there, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait, we have plans now. Okay, this
popping cherries all around. Left and right.
We actually have a plan to go back in time so we can go to Big Nano's funeral, so we can be the first podcast to get the first death of a cast member of the show. Which is going to be somber. We'll treat it respectfully and peacefully as it should be.
Lots of firsts.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of firsts.
That's the point.
But yeah, I don't have like a ton of notes. I have watched this once. TJ, I think you've watched it once.
Yes.
Or at least part of it. Ryan and Nick, you guys have not watched it yet, right?
I watched it about an hour ago. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I watched it an hour ago. I didn't know we were going to be Nick is pre-lubed watching it together, so we're good to go. For warning here, Kaz has asked us to review it and just give us an unbridled opinion. So we will be telling it how we see it and giving him his best feedback as we possibly can. He is a student of cinema and he is still learning. So keep that in mind when watching this. And enjoy the show. Cameron, Ryan, you want to say anything?
I wanted to say, because Kaz is at least friend adjacent
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, even though I got it sent. I've been following this the whole time. I've been excited to. I didn't have the time because I thought it was like a 30-minute thing. And then
That's understandable.
Like 8 minutes, and at this point we don't plan to do it. So I was like, I'll just get the raw reaction here. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to be offended by my
raw.
Yeah. My understanding going into I didn't know this going into watching it when it was launched because I had not seen any behind the scenes stuff or anything like that. I knew about it. Obviously, Kaz had sent some like, hey, I got this suit, I got that suit, I'm working with so and so, but nothing too much beyond just general conversations over it. And he put together this episode 0, if you will, this pilot to really get it out there and get it in people's minds and kind of get out in front of it. Because I believe there are other people. I don't know their names or like channel names or anything, but there is at least one other person working on a Beetleborgs fan film. And I think it's set to come out like later this year. So Kaz was like, all right, we're going to get, out in front of it. We've got some footage. We've got enough to, get our names in there and, get on them for chucking something out there. That's, not unlike what we've done.
That's
so
all you got to do.
yeah.
Shit out there.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else to add at the top of it. We will go through it. We'll watch it, live as everybody else is with us. If you're watching this, and then I guess no, not live, but you know what I mean. Real time, real time. And if there's a bit that any of us want to, stop, pause, comment on for, constructive criticism or Easter egg comment or something like that. There's a couple bits that I already know I'm going to snag out and comment on.
I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, I guess. But without further ado, I think we're ready to go. TJ, you've got the controls.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I do like that he did this little dedication at the front. I had not realized how many people had passed.
Yeah, I think that was premature in saying Big Nano was the first one. Was there? Who was
Papenbrook?
Yeah.
Oh,
March
right,
of 2006.
Oh, okay.
15 years ago, we would engage in the biggest battle of all against Nukas. When less fortunes gave up evil for good, Nukas forced his hand to create one last thing, an item of darkness that granted him great power. We would do battle, and surely a loss would occur. You know the story. 3 typical average kids, and kids we were. We never truly understood the power that we had, although we thought that we did. Nukas would launch a full-on assault against Hillhurst, and the outcome would change our lives forever. We won the battle, but at a great cost. During the battle, my sister Jo was hurt badly. I never truly forgave myself, and in some ways that moment still follows me to this day. After Hillhurst was destroyed, the gang returned to their roots. Some found fame or adventure. Others embraced it. For me, I never moved on. Jo was left comatose, and for the past 15 years, I have tried to find a way to bring her back to no avail. That evil cloud of darkness created by the blast felt all too familiar, and yes, so close to home. Something old yet new emerged from that event, and I am convinced that soon we will reconnect with an old enemy, one we once thought was long gone.
This is just what our recording desk looked like during those 3 years.
It really did. That old kitchen table, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Turn down the ISO on the camera, Kaz.
A little bit.
Do you agree, Nick?
I would say either the ISO a little bit or drop the aperture just a tiny bit. It's just a little bit overexposed in the back, but the focusing is good.
Yeah. The light's just a little weird.
Yeah.
This is Kaz playing Drew.
Okay.
adult Drew.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Kaz.
No.
Did he just take a rip off a vape?
I'll vape to that.
Yeah, why not?
Whoa!
I really relate to
The
Drew's
Bonders.
character.
Small art.
Go away. Wait, no! Put that
You want to
down!
pause real quick, TJ? So I know I think Kaz addressed this in like a pinned comment on the video on YouTube, and I know he's said stuff about it, I think on like either Twitter or Facebook or something on the page for this. The audio quality is probably like the most noticeable
Yes.
gripe.
I did notice that.
Really quickly becomes apparent. This was like a very like, obviously, as all indie productions are, low budget, like not expensive equipment. They have gotten better equipment, so future installments, they understand that this was like their like, you know, lower point that they hit, lower quality point that is. But I think that is the one thing that like catches you most immediate, because like I didn't notice the like oversaturation and stuff, because I don't.
But
really
a lot
have
of it is mixing
eye.
as well. The music was very overwhelming at the beginning. A lot of bass coming through, and then it's just a very hollow voice. But like you said, at least they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have plans to better. So
And it kind of makes sense. Now correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm honestly like outside of the fact that this is a Beetleborgs specific project.
Yeah.
That is like the only area of expertise I'm bringing to this thing. And there are two other guys that are also here that are just as qualified in that field, if not more so. And so correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Experts, but wouldn't audio kind of be like, it would make sense for like the starting out projects, like the low budgets, because like it's a lot easier. Like our phones can take outstanding video and pictures and stuff pretty easily. Like I feel like that's so simplified now.
audio equipment is harder to pull.
I think another factor that has to go into it would be like Cam said, that there was a rush to almost push things out. So I think that played a factor.
Yeah, that's always going to affect quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think Kaz did a good job of getting out in front of that as well, and like addressing and saying, hey, I understand the audio is, you know, kind of subpar compared to, it's not where we want it to be. We understand that. We've got, you know, new boom mics in.
This is episode 0.
Yeah, it's
a rough
very
draft.
much getting in on the ground floor.
Like,
What I would like to see in the future, once you get established, is maybe come back, revisit, remix this episode, and fine-tune it. That would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and you could go the extra mile and like really, really get into ADR and like just redo all of the dialogue. I mean, that's like that's really intensive.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot of hours.
That is something that can be done, and that's super in the that's super in the vein of Saban Productions, because they were a master of going back and doing ADR for stuff, because it was incredibly difficult to catch actual dialogue in any of the settings that they were shooting in.
Well, especially when they're in suits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they already had the setup.
Somebody in a motorcycle helmet with hidden on it in a quarry is not going to be projecting well.
Yeah. All right, and go. Stop, Lucas.
And before we unpause, the photos of Hillhurst as it stands in the newspapers are the photos that we took when we were out at Hillhurst a couple years ago. So
Available on projectlouder.net.
Yes.
Oh,
our vlog and blog and everything.
Which I did those shots. I'm assuming that was supposed to be of Hillhurst basement.
Yeah.
In the beginning with those credits and stuff with newspapers. I really like that. It felt like Hillhurst. I guess that's what my thing I'm bringing to the table. You guys can handle the technical shit. The vibes match, bro.
Yeah.
The vibes were tubular.
I can't tell if I wish that the newspaper printouts looked more like real, like genuine newspaper printouts, or if it makes more sense that they don't, because who has newspapers at the ready? It would make more sense that he's printed them out.
He's either printed them or photocopied them or something like that. Like,
but if he's been waiting around for 15 years,
that's the other.
Wouldn't it also?
I understand that from like a set dressing side, like that's it is not easy to match a prop like a newspaper. You'd think it would be, and it's
stain them in tea. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Print it in 11 by 17 and
You just
and stain it.
You know how easy you just get a
Pull a
fake
Warhol and
newspaper
piss on them.
Well, there's probably services that do that. Yeah.
There are a lot of services that do it, but also like, so I think compare the two ideas. Like if you have a fake newspaper looking thing or whatever, like that's not going to like click in your brain. I feel like, or the general, not yours. I'm sorry, not like projecting anything, but I feel like to the general audience that isn't going to click as much as being out of place as just like this Word document that you're looking at.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is like one of my small, like that's the only thing I didn't like about the opening was like it was a little jarring. It was like newspaper-esque, not newspaper like Uncanny Valley papers.
Yes. I think if we saw if they wanted to stick with that's how the props look, show him like printing them off in a copier in like the side of the room, and then like that's one way to justify that, you know, avoid that little like annoyance. Again, I think it's an annoyance that only a handful of people are going to have, and like
we're nitpicking.
Yeah, a lot of
we're looking for things to
are things only we will
comment on,
nitpick about.
He asked us for it though.
When
yes,
Nick says it's a nitpick.
These nitpicks, yes.
That's all that I had. So we can
unpause Kaz's ass.
Yes.
But it's technically mine.
This hasn't been yours since 1998. You have to be careful with it.
It's not your fault, Drew.
Is that a Sega Game Gear?
Why are you here?
Yeah,
Why can't you just leave me alone?
Boys, I guess. Yeah.
Man, I miss mine.
It was never your fault.
Come on, remove some noise.
I
can't.
Yes, you can.
No. You are not
I think some
real.
of that is the ADR.
I
I know
know
he
you're
did.
not.
Okay.
He said they did go back and re-record some stuff in ADR.
Okay. Yeah, because that definitely looked dubbed. Like it was just like barely out of sync.
Yeah. And that just takes time. That's just practice.
Yeah.
He went to the barber and said, "Give me the Lunar Ranger."
Yes. Very nerd. If Kaz doesn't have a Wild Force Lunar Ranger cosplay, it is a damn shame.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to get rid of you, am I?
Nope, I'm a figment of your mind.
Like the way that sounds.
Is it really that bad, though? I mean, in a way, we're still together, right?
No. We are not still together. You are not real. The real you is in a coma right now.
I'm no less real than the events at Hillhurst.
So
This is as real as I can
I think we're still together kind of has weird implications. Is that not Joe?
It's a weird way to phrase it. It is Joe.
It is.
That's true.
So this is him, his like subconscious, because Joe is adult Joe is in a coma.
Yeah.
This is him picturing child Joe.
Mm-hmm.
The phrasing is a little odd.
You can say so many things that aren't we
Now,
are not still together.
To be fair, that's not how they would have phrased it in Beetleborgs.
Yeah.
And she
They're
would
not
have
together, Mark.
and-
Not.
she would have popped up like Flabber.
The Lunar Ranger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for the context.
yes.
I appreciate it. I feel like I'm in on the joke now.
Yeah.
There
There are
Nick eat shit and die.
there are a couple spots in young Joe's, like Phantom Joe's appearances, where she interacts with real objects in the world, and
Is this fucking Flabber?
that'd be a great reveal.
Hold on, Kaz, steal the idea. 'Cause I want to call that shit.
It's Flabber projecting himself as his as Drew's subconscious.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's killer. Actually,
He's a therapist, man. I told you.
he tries to be.
a secret magic to his flab.
Yeah. There's just like a handful of situations where like, because this is kind of a like the Sixth Sense scenario where like
We're
she
gonna spoil it in episode 0, but this is just like the
Yes.
Sixth Sense.
is she really there? Is she not? And like they are like obviously like it is meant to be that she is not really there.
Yeah.
But one of the things with like the thing the Sixth Sense did really well is that you can watch the whole movie, see the reveal, and then go back and watch the movie and realize like, oh, he never interacts with anything physical in the world. He doesn't act. People aren't actually talking to him. He is talking at them in response to things they say to someone else or to themselves. And I think like that's like a really high level of like subtlety in like acting and like in the performance. And I think they did a good job with a lot of the ways that they interact. And I think it works for what they're going for. But there are little things like her holding the data bonders and then him taking them from her instead of like them setting on the table. She like picks them up off the table and then puts them right back where they were. And then he picks them up. Little things like that. Again, like it's just me nitpicking. It's like not a thing I don't think anyone else would notice.
No, I mean continuity is like
there you go.
Always something that like the super fans, the nerdy people, which thankfully isn't this fan base, that we all kind of key in on.
Yeah.
Are you ready to resume?
I am. Yes.
Again?
Also, I do like this place that they got to shoot this whole scene in. I think it was
you're right.
for what
You're
they're
right. This is my problem.
Yeah,
Every time you show up, I take a drink.
Like this.
I'm slowly killing myself because of you.
Jesus Christ.
Got dark real quick.
Why can't you just go away?
It's a bit more serious than I originally thought it was
I
going to be.
can't.
Oh yeah,
And I can't just give up on
do
you.
that going in.
No, good. That's it. I need closure.
You can
I'm gonna
tell
more
when the audio shifts.
Yeah. I am sorry for moving so much. These.
You're fine.
As I left my depressing home, I couldn't help but
Everything
feel a
is static.
familiar presence.
Chuck?
It haunts me.
Ooh.
Beckons in the back of my mind. I
There's no
dare
camera
not say his
movement.
name.
Yeah, I was about to
For
say, I don't
we once
recall
thought he was
really
long
many,
gone.
Handheld.
I know that he
shots from
holds
it.
on to my sister, keeping her in an
Dolly work
unconscious
is
state.
mostly,
No
static.
doubt some form of dark magic or
And the
deep
suits look
decree.
good.
But who would believe me?
He's going for a
Some
Lynchian
I'm a
feel.
broken drunk, a man crippled by traumatic
Yeah, I can see
events.
It does feel a little
haunted
bit
by
of
the past.
a little bit of
Static
Lynch.
shots for
Who was
days.
I to hope
I
anyone
love that
would
that's
listen?
the press photo of the
Regardless,
kids in Flabber.
the one thing I had to do
Oh, is it really?
was hold on to her.
That one.
Yes.
Hope that she can awaken and that someone would listen. But first, in order to do that, I needed to reunite
Yes.
with some old
A
friends.
little IV Band-Aid is
Friends
a
I
good
could
touch.
count on. Friends I thought I would never see again.
Oh.
There he is.
Friends I could learn from.
Oh, the dragon.
Friends we never expected to return.
Why does that look
And
weird?
ultimately,
Fireboard.
enemies that
It's
we
because
wish
it's
never
not
did.
filled out as much.
Vengeance will be mine.
I think the
Beetleborgs.
voice is really good. I think that's Kaz. I think that
Oh, that's it.
yeah. I think that should have been a little darker, maybe. don't
So little
Oh, wait, no.
nitpick of mine.
Yeah, Marvel after the credits scene. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, your nitpick, Ryan.
Yeah, so the whole like dot to be continued thing, it's supposed to be an ellipses,
Oh, it is
and that
cast.
was 4 dots. That's scholasticism.
Really good for that one.
Your tiny one.
I did
Yeah.
see, Cam, you were right. The Shadowborg voice was Kaz.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Forest is on fire.
and I do like that he's I don't know if it's live yet or not, but I know he has made a point to also get this subbed in Japanese.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I saw the credit for Japanese.
Hey, there we are.
translations.
Oh God. Hey, wait, what?
Hey.
Oh, hey, look.
Hey.
We did the legwork. Why is it the name? I literally tracked down those geo coordinates. Let's get $1. I get $1.
You live vicariously through me. When someone says Cam with the Beetle Bros, they inherently mean Cam,
Aaron.
Nick, and Ryan.
All three of us.
I think, and I said this to Kaz.
David Lockwood. See, I'm right there. You just spelled my name wrong.
I said this to Kaz, and I know I said this when he launched it. I think whenever I shared it, like every criticism that I've had, or that honestly anyone else that I've seen have of this, is coming from a place of like absolute appreciation for what
what I think would
do.
Make it cool.
Yeah,
shoot it in 4:3.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, that would like.
The original aspect ratio of the show.
I don't know what it looks like. I'm like, all right, yeah, so it's got some black borders somewhere, I bet.
But I think that would just help with the aesthetic as well. Also, you wouldn't have to worry about as much stuff in frame. Yeah,
that's good.
Even if they shot it, if like the opening sequence was in 4:3 and then it moved into the wider aspect ratio, to kind of highlight the transition from the 90s series into the modern era.
There was also a lot of change in color grading throughout each scene. You got to keep that consistent with this stuff. I understand you were going between different scenes, but we saw a lot of outdoor scenes whenever you had all those cameos of the Borgs and all their friends and stuff. But there was just so many different shades and everything going on. It's very visceral to the eyes whenever it's just constantly changing back and forth to different things. I'd say in the future, try to keep one look consistent throughout the entire episode.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Nick, did you have something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, because I did notice that as well, going from that interior shot in the apartment or the
very
loft.
Muted.
Yeah, it was pretty muted. There was that bit with sort of the exposure initially, but it was skewed kind of blue on the white balance a little bit, and then for that shot, it just goes in the other direction completely.
He went full David Fincher for the color grading there.
A little bit, yeah. So just kind of center it a little bit. So like for the inside ones, kind of make it skew it a little bit warmer, and then for the outside shots, skew it a little bit cooler, and it should sort of even out over the.
Any critiques on composition, Nick?
Not particularly. It was pretty well blocked, I think. I didn't really see any issue or anything like that. It seems to be mostly technical stuff that are the main criticisms rather than the actual like content itself. It seems to be mostly like the equipment itself. But that's just a budget thing. That's just kind of inherent to indie projects.
Take a little bit more time, tighten up those loose edges, and I think overall you'd have a well-rounded product.
Yeah, for sure. You had something you were going to say before.
All right. So, entertain this thought for a second. Let me tell y'all, or tell me what y'all think. It's been a very technical discussion right now, and there are so many things that go into these that aren't just like, oh yeah, you can just. Sorry, I'm breaking our setup, ladies and gentlemen.
Smashing the set.
Non-derogatory others. I don't care. No, but like there are a lot of other things. Like I think maybe would it be worth? What do you guys think about us doing another watch through? Because it's pretty short, and we already kind of tore into a lot of it. I think. What if we did another watch through? Because this is why I suggest it, because I feel like personally, in order for me to give a critique of value, I need to watch it again. And whether that's on air or off is going to be the group's decision, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So if you would like to
you want to watch it again
without
the volume?
So through the magic of editing, we will watch it again. And then we will clap in.
I forgot. I forgot how recording works. It's been it's kind of like, well, you know what? Edit this out.
And we're back after a second watch so Ryan could collect his thoughts. Ryan, did anything retain?
Yeah, collecting's a strong word there, Kent.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, no, for real. To be fair, I thought I was on the spot earlier. I wasn't. But yeah, so, yes, no, of course I have thoughts. I have many of them, and some of them will be present today. So, the voices.
Yeah.
The initial narration, that's the word.
Militant monologue.
Yeah, he's a very, it's written very like strict and like kind of like somebody that maybe doesn't know how to talk like a normal person, like somebody who has like PTSD, kind of been in a very structured.
It's what somebody thinks somebody would sound like with PTSD.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like they're trying to convey, is at the very least.
And it works enough.
Yeah, if that's what you're going for. But then we're introduced to Drew, and he's not written that way in his speaking voice. His actual dialogue is written kind of like, how he looks and how he acts. Like, it's written like a character. So, like, it's kind of weird. Either, like, the narrator needs to not be him, keep the voice, the writing and the voice needs to match what he's like. Or, I don't know, maybe this is all going to pan out. Maybe we're just, like, jumping the gun. This is episode 0, and he's like, no, I'm a Vince Gilligan enjoyer. I have some chicanery at my sleeve. Trust me, 7 seasons in, it's going to blow your fucking mind that I did this.
And there are ways to, like, get around what you're talking about with, like, you can have the narrator be Josh or Roland or...
You know how I would have done it?
Yeah, go.
I would have used the girl that's in the coma.
Mm-hmm.
I would have had her start the monologue, but she's doing a monologue over fight footage, and then she's like, "But before I tell you, before I tell you why we're here, let me tell you how we got here." Then she goes, "But we got to start from the beginning." Then they go all the way to the beginning while she's still in the
wondering
coma.
how I got in this coma.
Yeah, so, record scratch freeze frame.
So then it goes back to Kaz, and then they have the scene where he's sitting there and everything. I don't know. That just would have made more sense to me.
I don't quite agree.
I think part of that is like,
but then you would have front loaded all the action then instead of putting it all.
I agree with
Yeah.
her being the narrator though. I think that would be a way better choice. Then you could kind of make it a little more coy about her being in the coma.
Young her or adult her?
Because at some point she gets out, especially at the end. You know what I mean? So we know that she gets out.
Yeah.
So if she's out and then we address it, be like, so I was in a coma and then this happened.
Isn't that weird?
I do, and I am sure that this is going to get resolved probably in the very next installment. But having her in a coma and then at the end of your episode 0, having her presumably awake from the coma, I don't think her opening her eyes was necessary. Maybe like the glowing purple on the Beetle Bonder. I think that works really well. Mm-hmm. But I think her opening her eyes almost defeats the purpose of having her been in the coma.
Right.
If assuming that going into the next installment she will be awake.
If the final shot was the close up on the eyes opening?
Well, I don't know. I
think it would still feel the same.
Twitch,
you need that
or like
suspense.
A smile.
So that suspense is what's going to keep you going for the next episode.
Is she going to wake up?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's no stakes. You're immediately like being like, hey, like everything in life or in Beetleborgs. Sorry, Freud. Like, we're gonna raise them and dash them quite expertly, sir.
And I do think there was an earlier version of his pitch for his script, I guess, where I think he may have mentioned that like Joe originally was going to have died and he didn't want to go that route. I think there was a bridge too far for this, and hey, I respect that.
Once and always did that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now available on projectlouder.net. Check out the official review of Power Rangers.
I am 100% of the mind that like shows like this don't need to be exceedingly dark and grittily rebooted, and even fan projects.
Unless it's like a 30th anniversary special, but yeah.
Yeah, and even then, like the once and always is not.
Kamen Rider needed to be exactly what
Masked Rider.
Yes, but if the show Kamen Rider, if like the next season of Kamen Rider after Geats went that direction, it would not work.
Oh no!
And like.
You know how many 5-year-olds would cry?
Exactly. And I think that like this maintains like having her in a coma and like nebulously waking up or not, I think is a really great place to be in. I think it is just that little bit of like her opening her eyes rather than like smirking a smile or
How
something.
many coma patients are sent home in a bed without
all of them eventually.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
That's staying good. That's staying good. That's like a dark.
It's another zoom in.
And I also like. I do really like that he got the Wolfie suit made and included Wolfie in there because I know
the suits are top notch. Everything is great, and we just got to kind of remember we got to reiterate some of the stuff we said when we were doing the second watch through that it's not on this podcast.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I had opinions.
Well, I think like your big takeaway was that the voice and tone changes pretty drastically between the narration that Drew is giving and the actual dialogue that Drew and Joe and
too much of a character change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And on top of that, some of the dialogue is still clunky, even when it is like voice appropriate or whatever. Like, I guess
I can agree with that.
Appropriate. Like, it can be cleaned up a lot. Like it. I really don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't like feel exactly like real dialogue. It feels like written dialogue. Which
and that's that's not unlike Beetleborgs.
Right, true.
But it's not the right flavor of written dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a tricky thing to nail.
Mature feel too. So it feels like, I mean, a lot of the things are better.
Should everything go that route? Should everything have to be dark and everybody be fucked up after time? What happened to happy stories? That's just my complaint about
Flabbers in Maui, dude.
Yeah.
And like
he's in a surf contest right now.
That's a thing, and I know I at one point mentioned this to Kaz, and I've said it to other people. I've talked about it a bunch with the Indie Toku guys. Is like I don't like stories going dark and gritty. I don't like that. It's a reason I don't like.
You get
a lot
it
of,
so
like,
much.
Yeah, like I don't like when
it's done a lot.
I don't like when Superman is played that way. I don't like when Batman is played that way.
Star Wars.
I do have a specific thing about Superman, but like I think like a lot of media, like what I immediately think of, and I don't know if you guys, if literally any of you guys have seen it, but like a decade ago now, a fan film, fairly well-made fan film of Power Rangers was released called Power/Rangers, I think. And it was a very dark and gritty, quote unquote, reboot thing of Power Rangers where like, I think Billy had committed suicide and Zach was doing coke. And like
the hell,
I think maybe
I loved this.
Kimberly or Trini had died, and it was extremely well made. But it just like a lot of fans came out of the woodwork that were like, "This is what Power Rangers needs to be. This is what the 2017 movie should have been," and all this. And it's like, no, absolutely fucking not. And I think
hung out at a juice bar, and their entire lives were martial arts and friendship.
Exactly like, and I think that like Kaz is at a nice middle ground where. There are stakes. Like Joe was like severely injured and is in a coma. Hillhurst was presumably destroyed. The other characters, like the monsters and stuff, are not. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know what happened to Flabber.
Yeah, kind of. In the newspapers, they said there's the mummy and the pyramid. There was vampires in Romania, and then Wolfie showed up. Of course.
Yeah.
So or at least show Wolfie with Kaz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on where the character arc goes, because if it keeps on being as edgy, it's fine, but or it's not fine.
Wolfie does heroin now. They haven't mentioned it yet.
I think
Mother Superior.
I think Wolfie being in there at all will lighten it enough that it will kind of even the playing field.
Yeah,
for me personally.
It really so much of it depends on what comes next, in my opinion.
And that's the hard part of something like this.
That's until Drew opens the door and Wolfie is overdosed on fucking heroin. And
he's been staked by the whatever knockoff Van Helsing Beetleborgs had. I can't remember his name.
Hey, buddy, what you got there? A gallon of LSD. All right. Okay, cool.
I got into Flabber's stash again.
Flabber doesn't even look like that.
We get through the whole Kaz does a whole fan series, and at the very end, all the kids are they just like wake up from a really bad trip in the night. They're back in 1998.
What happened? Oh, we broke into this mansion in 98 and we inhaled a bunch of mold.
Carbon monoxide in the mansion.
You were seconds away from asphyxiation.
They all had like carbon monoxide poisoning.
That's how this should have started. It's all the kids waking up.
Yeah, retroactively undoes not just the thing, but the entire show. It's literally episode 1. They went.
That's what it is.
It's the parents convincing the kids that none of it was real.
It's a news tagline. 3 typical average kids.
Nearly the one broke into a mansion.
Are they the reason that they went into?
Yeah, they dared them.
Yeah, so that's at least canon.
Yeah, they ran out and they survived.
So Trip and Van went in, ran out. Oh yeah, see, so being scared saved their lives. That's the real lesson. Be scared of everything all of the time.
Be terrified at all times.
Rich boys.
If you're not having an anxiety attack, you're not living.
But yeah, I think that like a lot of the like.
Let's talk about our favorite parts, because we've been ragging on it and cracking jokes and everything.
China.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of our favorite parts. I think the costumes are great. Also, something we haven't mentioned, I don't think, on this podcast yet, is fixed aspect ratios.
Yeah.
There's a shot with the white what's it called?
Blasterborg.
Blasterborg that looks squishy. Looks very squishy.
Yeah.
That's
so stretchy.
And that is, we talked about off air, that is a problem of getting footage in from other sources.
You can fix that in post. You just got to put a little effort into it.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things of like just going the the little extra
a close up with 4:3 would look cool of that. Just saying.
I think I'll shoot first on the favorite.
Shit.
I think in general, that opening narration, the like tiny lore dumps and like talking about like basically giving us a finale to Metallix that we never got, of like, okay, Nukas got this uber power at the end and had this big grand finale fight.
Which is funny because isn't the last thing Drew says like, I need closure or something like that?
Yes, when he goes
we're getting closure from the intro.
Exactly.
Now he's like, closure. Oh, it's all about closure.
But like I think that like, because that's a thing that Beetleborgs doesn't have, is a finale. It doesn't have a true ending. It ends on effectively a cliffhanger.
I mean, so does My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
that's true.
Fuck. Don't remind me.
Yeah, I just rewatched that not too long ago, and it hurts still.
Thank God for raising hope and them giving the opportunity of writing the dad as kicking the NBC dude guy in the nuts and saying, "That's for canceling My Name is Earl."
Like I think that like that opening narration works really well. Like I think that hits the part of me that is the Beetleborgs fan that misses the franchise and misses what could have been. And I think that's going to like hit home with a lot of people watching this. I think that works the best out of the whole thing. Right next to, I think the next best beat is Wolfie walking up next to Roland.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people would expect you to do that in a fan film like this.
And don't
I'm a millionaire. He's an object I thought of.
You're in a really cool cosplay. You don't have to do this. Whatever you.
Hey, body rolls are a part of the lifestyle, man.
There are like little things that like I think just come with wearing those suits more frequently, or having like I don't know who was in the titanium suit. I don't know if it was Kaz or if it was somebody else, but I think
Titanium Man is a Russian dude, but I haven't read any of the issues with him in a while.
Crimson Dynamo?
No, different Titanium Man. He's a different guy. Actually. Worse, even. He's a knockoff Crimson Dynamo. Would you believe it?
Man, like, and part of that comes with like, is someone super familiar with being a suit actor and how you emote when you're in a suit that doesn't show your face, and like you have to use body language, and how do you use body language, and like doing a big like stretching your shoulders is not necessarily what would fit in that moment, but that again, like that takes time and it takes multiple takes, and like you've got to get a vibe for that, and how that suit how you wear that suit matters, like how that fits on you versus how it fits on a different person, and how the suits in the original series would have fit because they're a different, they didn't fit as well, or they fit differently. They're more constrictive, whereas these look more.
You know what I'd like to see in the later episodes?
The
Orange Borg.
Oh, the Lightning Borg.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is like having the Fire Borg in there being one of the Astro Borgs. That's the thing that like we talked about when we recorded the show. The Astro Borgs are just fucking around, like they're just there. So anyone who has a Lightning Borg is the Cicada one.
Oh, thank you.
Like
I am a self-proclaimed expert.
Points off camera.
yeah, I have the figures in there.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to look at them and I'm like, wait a minute, is that one or that one?
Yeah.
There's
like
any of those
characters
characters played by a short, chunky dude. He's awesome.
Yeah. Like any of those characters could realistically appear. Like we don't know what happened to them at the end of Metallix.
They literally all fucked off.
Yeah. They say multiple times.
But I don't
in
think we
episodes.
ever seen the Orange Borg in Beetleborgs, right?
We see him in Metallix, yeah.
Oh, you do?
He's in Metallix.
In like 3 episodes, maybe.
Oh, okay.
When they're all together, mostly.
Oh, I
think
thought
he
it
has
was a B-Fighter thing.
He has one debut episode, and then he has like one with them all together.
I was gonna say, I think they at least have like the all together shots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would
okay.
Have all of the
All of both
fighters,
seasons,
even
of,
if they
like, all
didn't
the-
have
okay.
a specific episode dedicated to them.
I think because I think Metallix, like they had a series of, I'm remembering like 2 years ago,
Right, I know it's
but
hard.
they each Astro Borg had like a focus episode where they got, because the Beetleborgs got like their add-on weapon thing that went with each Astro Borg.
And the Magnivores were after it too, because they had their special weapon that also had the.
Yeah, they had the Astral Axe that we never got a toy of.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think having, and I'm curious where that goes. Like, do these little cameos? I know that like Shadowborg coming back is something Kaz is working into the plot, and presumably in tandem with that whole yin yang thing that they did, is that's why Josh is coming back as the White Blaster Borg, because Shadowborg is back. The only way to defeat one is with the other. Yeah. I do kind of want a little bit of like, oh yeah, my invisibility never went away. I've been hanging out in Zoom Comics the whole time.
Josh never left.
I stole millions from casinos.
That's why you're a billionaire, not a trillionaire.
Yeah.
I've been siphoning money from the company.
I've been embezzling from Zoom Comics for the past 15 years.
But yeah, that was like my favorite parts were like when Wolfie walks up in that opening narration. I don't know what anybody else's what stood out as anybody else's like favorite bit.
Oh, the scene when he's walking up as Kaz and then he changes into the Borg.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Henshins are always keen.
That's a very like, well, this is a very like Kuga scene of that like fade in and out of the costume. Like that's a very Kamen Rider, like mid 90s Kamen Rider.
The next time I want to see his face morph into the Beetle like an Animorphs.
Yeah, because they do that. They have that.
They have that a couple times.
It is in the show, and
what's
it's
that called? Do they have a name for that?
No, it's what
they have to Beetle
early.
Backblast or whatever.
Well, yeah, they did in Metallix. They, what the fuck did they call that? They transformed into literal little animatronic bugs.
Form of.
Yeah, they did it
was
like
something
5
down,
times.
right? It was like Bug Down or something.
See, that's the DC adaptation we need.
It was like
Bug Out. Wasn't it
Bug Out. It was
Bug Out. Yeah. That was
Yes.
it. Okay. I got the
Yeah,
bug right. I was like, I can't.
That
Like
would,
Bug Down. With
I
Nick Deny.
swear to God, Kaz, if
Dun, 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 dun.
you get a little either stop motion or little RC
Oh, dude, if you could
Beetle
claymation something like
and you
Or even
have
get stock
any
footage of a
characters Bug
goddamn
Out.
Beetle just walking around and have it
Yeah.
cut to it like comedically.
You can fucking buy a stag beetle. I'm not gonna question you. Like,
I
no,
encourage it. I think everyone should own a stag beetle.
yeah.
Stag
You'll pop
superiority.
Cameron at least if you put stock footage of a Beetle in there and one of them turning into it. So
Yes. That would be a level of like, that's a deep cut
Okay.
Bug out.
that I think would work. But yeah, Ryan, did you say your favorite bit?
So I liked the conversation with his sister. I think that it could be tweaked and improved upon. and I think I like it because I see the potential. But honestly, I kind of like that he's an alcoholic and he's a bit relatable. And
He needs to be doing
even though the
coke, too.
dialogue was clunky, it was representative of maybe some things. That
It's nice to think that after 3 years of being a Beetleborg, it's almost the same experience of after 3 years of being a Beetle bro.
odd, isn't it?
You get to the end of that experience and you're just like mentally defeated.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Nick, what was your favorite bit?
So, I probably have to agree with you on the opening sort of intro sequence. Not just like the narration itself, but just the lore and everything from like the initial set dressing and all of that.
The newspapers and stuff.
Yeah. I would say because it's just, I think it's just cool to see how the gaps were filled in. That sort of just 15-year
I like to fill your gaps.
gap from it. Ooh.
I think it did move a little fast for how much
Please.
information was in such a tight space. Because, like, you,
Yeah.
I mean, you sent me pictures of some of them.
The newspapers.
Beforehand. I got a little insider knowledge. That's what happens when you're a Beetle bro. But I remember, like, that's how I knew the plot of this going in. Is like I read all of the newspapers as much as I could.
And I do like that he wrote out, like, there are little, or someone did, someone wrote out.
And you pause
little,
it, you can just read the entire
it's not
page.
just a bunch of nonsense repeated over and over like a lot of the prop.
That feels very like
all work and no play makes Drew a dull boy.
Yeah, like that feels very like
that
it would make very good viral marketing.
That would be great.
It reminds me of like the way that they marketed Cloverfield.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Is that viral marketing of making like fake ads and stuff? You could totally like release those fake newspapers on like a website as like, and release it like almost like an ARG type thing, and have like make it like look like a real newspaper website. That's like, you know, that's
the Onion.
Yeah, like you know, it's like next level nonsense, obviously, but
it's got
like,
layers.
The way that the fact that they
Like an
are
ogre.
written like real
Send it to
articles
Fox.
about the
They'll
characters
publish
and
it.
events works, I think. Yeah, I think the big take.
Was Nick finished?
Yeah, Nick, did you have something else?
No.
Sorry, we cut you off.
No, you're good. Not really. I mean, I guess the only other scene in it that I can think of that's probably tied for that in my head. We did discuss this, I think, in the section that is now edited out.
The one behind the paywall.
It's in the primo package, the bloopers. But the initial outside shot where we talked about it's skewed a bit too warm. The ISO is just kind of turned up a little bit too much. The fade between him walking and the suit, other than just that light sensitivity part, if that was just tweaked, it'd probably be perfect, because that's probably my favorite shot of the entire thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'd have to agree too.
There just needs to be consistency.
That's basically it. That's
That
the
is the
only
biggest weakness.
But
Even
that
the
aside, that
room
is like my
for-
favorite scene in it.
As shitty as it was consistent.
Overall, keep going, Kaz. You're doing something cool, something other
Yes,
people
for
aren't
sure.
doing right now. We're supportive here at Project Louder. We enjoyed this. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for allowing us to review it. Ryan came, and he hasn't came in a while, so thank you for that. Full
Been blue for a
climax.
minute.
There you go. A little baby clap.
Yes.
Thank you, Bitty Clap.
And something we're going to try to do. It'll probably be a while from now, because we have a holiday coming up, obviously, and like
Which one? Date it. Date this episode right now. I dare you.
July 4th is coming up. And then also like Ryan, Nick, and I have a vacation coming up, so like we're going to be MIA for a bit, but we do want to at least, if not all of us, get together. A couple of us get together and talk with Kaz about this, and give him directly give him our feedback, and tell
really
him like
lay
what
into him.
Yeah.
Tell him why
just berate him for an hour on video.
But he wanted to have our opinions and what we thought like going forward, what could be done, and what we expect to see, not just like technical wise, but like lore wise and story wise, where we think it is going, or where we think
as liaisons to the series.
So I have
We speak on behalf of Beetleborgs.
we'll send him all your Tumblr all your Beetleborg Tumblr.
Well, now hold on.
accounts.
I actually did find a bunch of fan fictions that we've done nothing with, and I'm a little upset about.
There are a handful.
Back down.
Ryan's been sitting on fanfics for like a year and a half.
Ryan
Year and
writes
a half.
clever erotic
2
fan
years,
fiction
3 years, 4
under
years.
a pseudonym.
Oh, did you get it from season 1? Oh god,
I was
that's right.
dating her.
Yeah, it was like quite a while ago that we would have found any of those. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add though. Like huge props to Kaz for getting for like
dessert.
Yeah, I like
it was. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I gave you a like on your video on YouTube when I watched it by myself earlier.
It's very solid. I'm very proud of you for putting it out and getting it out there. Like, you know, obviously having the initiative to put out like an issue, or I keep saying issue, episode 0, and like
mine's on the God Punk.
I know my mind's on comics right now, but like getting an episode 0, an introductory thing out there to get you into the zeitgeist and get people talking about it, like that's really tricky and it's difficult and it's daunting. And like I know like Kaz has more experience with that than like some of us do, but that is like a thing that takes balls and takes, you know, you've really got to be dedicated to something to even put out.
Thank you for showing us your balls.
Yes.
I salute them.
Shiny and chrome.
He's got bearings of chrome.
I think that should be the final thought. Is Kaz has nice balls?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nice balls, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll get with Kaz and talk to him
Nice
about
balls.
his nice beetle balls.
Yeah, big bad beetle balls coming to a Kaz near you.
But I think with that, I've been Cam.
I have been Nick. I have been Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm the pod boss, TJ Bowser. Visit projectlouder.net for more premium content, such as the Big Bad Beetle Bros.
And are we?
Are we what? Oh, and we've been
the
Big Bad Beetle
Bros. Like riding a
That's
bike.
your mom.